Greetings, my name is Gabriel Marihugh. I'm the creator of the Wild Harmonic Oracle deck. And this is going to be a Wild Harmonic Oracle deck reading just for you, a 3-stack pick. And if you enjoy it, please subscribe, like, drop a comment. I'd love to hear what your experience is. And thank you so much for giving it a good listen. This is a pick a pile reading. We'll do 3 piles and you can pick which one. Give it all a little shuffle here. Pre-shuffled quite a bit because I like to shuffle a lot. Bring it into the present moment with our reading. With our inquiry, what is the pattern of your soul? This likely doesn't mean the end-all, be-all pattern of your soul, but the pattern that your soul is presenting right now in an attempt to draw your attention to something. Might be resources or opportunities or empowerment, self-awareness. Soul moves in mysterious ways and is always trying to draw attention. Well, in any case, towards empowerment, towards embodiment of the soul. Let's dig in here. We'll draw our 3 stacks. The Green Man stack. The Skull stack. And the Unicorn stack. All right, please forward the video to the stack of your choice. Green Man stack. Let's dig in. What is the pattern of your soul? Body wisdom, infinite expression, and collective insight. All very, very powerful cards, especially in this combination. Right away, I notice that these are all meditation form, meditation body. Might call them Buddha bodies, which are not every card in the deck. There's a collection of them, and they all work together well. So there is a symmetry here. In the Green Man reading, there is a sacred geometry already happening just with the symbolism alone. So this first position is the outer, we could say the obvious expression of the card, the evidence. So we have body wisdom. This card is, of course, all about embodiment, which means to bring our soul themes through into actual manifestation, which is sometimes external. I mean, it always ends up being external in some fashion as a reflection, but embodiment is inherently about us, about oneself. So this is about you and your embodiment. This is also about a very deep form of intuition, body wisdom. We can call it intuition. We can call it intelligence. On this card, I call it body wisdom. It may arise as intuition. So it may be simple and a little vague and symbolic or synchronous and need you to deepen into it in order to understand it, right? Just an intuitive sense of something. But recognize that intuition is always arising from a deep, vast body of intelligence, whether that is the physical body, bringing in physical and environmental awareness, relational awareness of all kinds. The body is very good with all of that. But it could also be a body of wisdom, a body of lineage, a body of ancestry, a body of collective relational spaces. So this is what is evident here to tune in with the body wisdom. This is the undercurrent. This is the less apparent, likely unapparent push or pull of the pattern that is being expressed. And it's this card, Infinite Expressions. This card has everything to do with all of our ideas of otherness of self. So whether that is ancestors or past lives or future lives or parallel lives, all of its game, all of it's encompassed within this card of infinite expressions. All of it boils down, though, to creativity. And so it's just pointing out that you can source creativity, becoming, right? The path of unfolding, this creative path of unfolding. It doesn't have to be an art form. You can be as unartistic as you want, and yet you are still a part of the creation, the creativity of your life. And this card is saying you have resources far beyond what you consider to be your own capacities, your own inherent resources. You might consider this to be like I said, pulling upon skill sets from parallel lives, or from dreams and dream encounters, or intuitive senses of capacities that you can sort of channel into your life, like the sudden knowing of information beyond what you thought you knew about it, or being able to act on something that is not your forte. For instance, you're in business and you have no background in it, but suddenly you sense how to go about it. You don't have to think about it being from parallel lives or past lives or anything like that. That's just, those ideas are just primers on how this card is communicating the experience of bringing through capacities and skills and perspectives and empowerments of self that aren't what you normally relate to. This is hidden. This is an undercurrent, but it is very strongly happening. And so it's asking you to deepen into this, and you can get there straight through the body wisdom. Tuning in with the body is going to reveal a whole mythological landscape. This card is really about the shamanic body, the mythological landscape that is the body, and tuning in to that and recognizing that there's so much more that the physical body is in tune with. And then, so this is this is not the outcome card. This is the threshold card. So this card represents, each of these cards have an invitation, but this one really represents the methodology for reaching the outcome, your desired outcome, whatever that may be in this process of soul patterning that you're experiencing. This is an invitation as well. It's an invitation to utilize the tool, so to speak, that this card represents. This card is called collective insight. And it's that recognition that when we get together with other people, our answers might come out of someone else's mouth. And likewise, we might speak answers that others have been seeking within themselves. And so this is tuning in with the world as, well, in this case, because of these cards here. So it's tuning in with the collective wisdom, which, again, the collective wisdom, I say again because I'm always harping on about this, collective wisdom may not be conscious of itself. It might be something you overhear at a cafe, but it also might be something that you ask a friend what they think about something, and they tell you, and your mind is blown, or pieces fit into the puzzle for you. That's this one here, how each of us are fitting into the puzzle of others, and that fits into the puzzle of our own heart, sort of the imagery there. But it's such a strong indication that it has a lot to do with other people being part of the expanded nervous system. So we each have our own nervous system, but rarely do we recognize that the collective, when it's in symmetry within itself, when others are operating in symmetry with each other, you might call it good relations or right relations or harmonic relations or something along those lines, mythic relations, whatever you like. When that is happening, our nervous systems support each other. We start to become a part of other people's processing, not the content, just the electricity or the energy of it. We can help facilitate others' processing, and likewise, our processing is facilitated by the greater nervous system as well. Now, that's just one aspect of it, and because it's body wisdom, it's likely pointing towards that kind of nervous system co-regulation, we might call it in modern language. But there is also this indication of it touching on ancestral or parallel or future or past lives, or, other, all the woo-woo lives that one might be leading, and and learning to tune in with those, because it could be as simple as, I need to regulate my nervous system and I don't have a community around me. But you do. You have a vast community that is ancient and far-reaching, and just is asking for you to make it conscious. Bring these connections from, again, the ancestral is the likely location, but it can also be very cosmic and multidimensional, depending on your your leanings in those different linguistic contexts. Bringing all that in to bring collective insight, to bring it's group awareness and shared wisdom, but it's group awareness and shared wisdom that lands for you. All right. Thank you so much. The unicorn stack, I wanted to be second, so be it. We have our 3 cards, 3 positions, which I'll explain. Ooh, a volcano and a fiery shadow. It's a very fiery reading to begin with a shadow card in here, which means there's some, both deep challenge going on, but also deep opportunity because of that challenge. So this already at a glance is calling forth the best within you, calling forth the maturity of, be you an energy worker or an alchemist of some sort, whatever language you use that you are trying to understand your path with, it's asking you to move more and more into the maturity of that path. So that's just at a glance. Let's go into the cards individually in the positions. This first position is the obvious, the evident or evidence of the pattern. We could say it's the external evidence of the pattern, but it can also be very internal in your own personal experience of yourself. This card, Primal Pulse, is of course the volcanic card. It has, okay, so first of all, Primal Pulse has so much life force in it. It is a surge of life force, an eruption of life force, and it also is leading to an emergence. That said, while it is a completely natural and energetic emergence, it can also be disruptive. Not necessarily in a negative way. It is inherently positive. It's the energy like of adolescence growing into adulthood. It kind of seems like it's wrecking itself, right? It's this card, the volcanic eruption, but it's so natural. It's what creates new land. It's what creates new life and new enrichment of old soil. And ultimately, the way of navigating this is to tune in with instinct. These energies here, study can help, right? Having contexts of like, what is primal energy? What is life force? You can have study and context for it, and that can help. And of course, in tuning in with the intuitive, that can definitely help too. Nothing is off the table with this card, but at the heart of this card is instinct. And so you might consider that animal instinct or primal instinct, or just the instinct of nature, the natural instinct within you, the raw primal, you could call it chi or prana or mana, the natural life force that is flowing through you. And so it wants to it has an instinctual pattern that it is expressing here. It's not trying to wreck you, it's trying to break through. And then here we have the shadow card, which is trying to wreck you. But I just sort of... This card, we see so much. I mean, this is the modern world card, and it's in the position of the undercurrent. And so this is inflammatory response. It means having a response to life that just makes it worse. Usually it's a response to something that is not going so well. So for instance, messing around with a tool or something like that, and it's not working, so we hit it on the ground and break it. Well, that was an inflammatory response. Now we have to buy a new tool. um, Depending on how it goes, it could have been the right option if the tool wasn't going to be broken. But this card is indicating that it's not the right option. It is the shadow, and it has connections with our own internal solar fire, the third chakra energy, and how it gets inflamed. An inflamed stomach is a lot of this kind of energy here, an inflammatory response. And so, someone comes at you with negativity and you respond with more negativity, which, believe me, I get it. I'm wired like every other fool on this planet. But it's the maturity that is being called for here is to understand how to step beyond it. There's this primal energy driving it, but it's trying to emerge. The primal energy is trying to be harnessed. It's trying to be harnessed in an adult way, for lack of a better word. Not saying you're not an adult, but we all have all these levels to us. It's trying to be harnessed and brought through in such a way, and it's going to be messy. And part of that recognition of that is maturity. And then learning to mitigate the kind of mess that eruption and new, fresh emergence is bringing, and recognize that underneath that there are these patterns expressing of inflammatory response, of basically making things worse. It's a very common card if we consider the online conversations. It's almost all inflammatory responses. So I think you get what I mean by that card. And this third position over here, we have unique frequency, which is, it's inherently about the uniqueness of you. It's about your authenticity, we could say your individual resonance. And it's also a recognition of tuning in to the uniqueness of each experience. And so it's not always about, I am unique and I am me. It is that. But the focus will most likely be on recognizing the uniqueness of others, but also of experience itself. And so maybe, you've taken a breath of how many breaths have you taken? So can you tune in with the next breath as a unique experience? Can you, brush your teeth as a unique experience? Can you talk to that person that you're just entirely bored of, or have these old ancient patterns with that are inflammatory and are eruptive, or that perhaps it's a context, not a person that you're interacting with? And can you bring the perspective of uniqueness to that situation? And it doesn't have to mean that you are honoring or appreciating the specifics of uniqueness and the details. It means you are honoring and appreciating being in the moment and looking for what is new, what is unseen here, tuning in with that. And then also doing that, by doing that externally, we begin that depth of doing it internally. And by doing it internally, we begin that depth of doing it externally. The thing is, we can get caught in one or the other, and that blocks the circuit from happening of unique frequency coming through. Because this card, if you're super into energy and resonance, this card is saying that your reality is completely unique to you, which means both your experience of yourself and all that you experience. All right. Thank you very much. The skull stack. I like the skull. So thank you for choosing it. All right, we have our 3 cards. We'll have 3 positions. I'll go into both the cards and the positions. What is the pattern of your soul, and what is it calling you to? And so we have first card in the position of the obvious or evident energies of the pattern, state change. The second card, the undercurrents, the hidden patterns, victorious silence. To meditators already from the deck, that's an interesting indication. One of the other stacks had multiple meditators too. It's a fun symmetry I get to see from the overhead here. All right, and the third card, holistic synergy. Ooh, such a beautiful space. This is really a card we're all reaching towards. All right, so to begin with, let's see, this first position, the outer or the evident version of the pattern of energy. This is the state change card, which in general represents transition, transformation, adaptation. It's also could be literal. You might be moving states, but it represents. It's a very alchemical card, right? The meditator transforming into a poof of butterflies. one of my favorite images. I guess I'm tooting my own horn there because I created the deck. I do love this image. So on the outside, it's things are changing. It's obvious. The state of things are definitely changing. There's no two ways about it. This card has to do with fire and water, and it's about how fire is applied to water. And so when you apply fire to water, it's turning to steam, which is similar to the imagery going on here. And there's more to go into with the meditators here. I'll come back to this card for sure. The second position here is the undercurrent, the hidden energies of the soul pattern that's playing out. This card is called Victorious Silence. It's one of the highest cards. You could call it, it has a pair with another card, a tie for second place of the highest sort of frequency or highest dimensional cards, dimensional, celestial. I'm not going to go into all of that, but these cards do have all of these elemental relationships. Every card is a relationship between two elements. And so Victorious Silence, this doesn't mean keep your mouth shut. I mean, it might mean that. It's not saying that the highest state is not saying anything. But other cards would have come forth if it was time to speak out. Let's just put it that way. Victorious Silence isn't about speaking. It's more about inner silence. In fact, the concept of this card, Victorious Silence, is nothing to do with speaking. It has completely to do with the inner silence, or, we can call it different things. Inner stillness. It might, like I said, indicate some form of restraint, like it's time to keep silent. That may be, like I said, that it doesn't have specifically at all to do with voice, but it might have to do with it in that way, in the sense of holding one's silence. Also, it could have to do with actions to just the same degree, holding one's actions back. But what it is it's tuning in with inner power, not the concepts of power, not the content of power, not the frameworks of power, not the sacred geometry of power, but the space within which all of that exists. All sound exists within silence. And that's what this is. In ancient traditions, this is very difficult to talk about, but in ancient traditions, they name it in different ways, and it has a lot to do with different methodologies. I call it victorious silence here because reaching it, which is a contradiction for sure. We don't reach victorious silence. We don't reach to silence. We're made of silence. We are the space within which experience is taking place. That's the silence I mean. So it's the silence of awareness itself. This is one of the deep mysteries of awareness. And because it is in the undercurrent space, it's indicating that look towards me, look towards what is underneath, look towards what is beneath, between, and behind. Look towards the space within which all else is taking place. Look to the space within which the state change is taking place. Likely, that is going to be a movement to give the state change more space to take place within, if there's some constraint going on here. This third card, holistic synergy, it's in the position of, I call it the threshold. It's not the outcome card. It could be that too, but that's not this position. This is not the outcome card. This is the modality card for helping to bring this pattern forth and liberate it into its next form, and so on and so forth. So each of these are an invitation in and of themselves, but this one is the invitation card for the whole reading. The holistic synergy is, well, it has a lot to do with integration, but integration with the whole, integration as in cooperation. Noticing how the basic sort of meditation of the card is to notice how so much of your life is handled by people who you never meet, all the people that grow your food and deliver your food, all of these things, so much all of your technology. So not looking at the negativities of those things, looking at the positives of how so many, countless others are unknown contributors to your life. And by tuning in with that, and I would say by being grateful for it, that may translate in different ways for different people. By tuning in with the energy of this holistic synergy, by seeing how it is already present in the examples I give, you can tune in with drawing forth more holistic synergy in other ways. It's a collaborative space, and it isn't about necessarily knowing each other. It's about being in alignment with the greater whole. It's like I said, it has an integration quality and a wholeness quality to it, but not in a, usually integration is like, oh, I'm trying to integrate this experience. And usually wholeness is like, oh, I'm just trying to open up into totality. This is looking at, it's those same words, but really in relationship with, thank you, trees, for making air. Thank you, humans, for growing my food. Thank you, humans, for building cars. Thank you, Earth, for making the minerals and other things to do so. And on and on and on. Recognizing that there is, that you are part of this wave that is flowing. You are part of it. And it is supporting you in so many ways. So by looking deeper and recognizing the ways in which it is supporting you, you start to tune in with aligning to it in more ways that it can support you. Thank you.